The ultimate deck podcast. Need a show about outdoor living? This is where it's at with your hosts Shane Chapman and Way Laurent. Thank you for tuning in. Now let the show begin. Yeah, the ultimate deck podcast. Let's go.
Yep, that's how this is gonna go. Says the guy opening a can of Coca-Cola. Way Laurent, Shane Chapman back here at the Ultimate Deck Podcast with a couple sick-looking guests here today. Meghan Grant and Korey Welterlich. Close enough?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's fine.
Welterlich.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Why don't you say it?
Welterlich.
Welterlich.
He says it like it's just simple.
So easy, right?
Or Welterlich if you're from the...
Oh,
wow.
that might be
Motherland.
easier, actually.
Welterlich?
Welterlich.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Hey, well, that's who you are now. So, Korey, we decided to do a podcast because we have friends here, and we're like, let's just do this. So, Korey is from Fortress Building Products. What's your official title?
I am Associate Territory Manager for Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba.
Okay. For our American listeners, that was a mouthful.
Yeah. The Prairies.
There we go.
Yeah. Much easier.
Yeah.
And Meghan from Mclean Lumber Limited.
Yep.
Distribution company that supplies us with decorators and what else you guys have? Decorators, G-tape, camo, Osco,
Oasis.
cedar, fir, Oasis panels, Fasten Master.
Not
What else? Ready Pine.
Not KWP.
KWP.
They don't have KWP.
No.
No.
Wait, why do you want me to have it so bad if you don't even have it? See, here's my point. Okay, just for those listening, if you're looking to get something out of this today, just switch to FM and listen to your favorite hit station, because this shit is just going to be a continuation of last night's nonsense. But here, just gonna get into it right away. Last night I was like, we need to specialize. If we put more our effort into selling what we're experts in, there's more opportunity there.
What we currently sell.
You should take that same strategy, because last night you tried to sell me on something you don't sell, and your job is to sell me shit. If you would have taken that hour to sell me something you have and can sell me,
It might have been an hour.
you could have made more money. But here we are without KWP or any of the other things that you sell.
Yeah, you had his ear. You had his ear for an hour. You should have went with Ready Pine.
I walked in here this morning. I was like on my board of things to look into. I was like, I'm going to write this on here and see if anybody notices. And I really didn't think anybody would. So much that I kind of even forgot I did it until you're like, did you put KWP in the board just for her? Yeah, kind of. And I forgot that I did that already. Okay, so yes, Wade?
Nope.
His thumb was up there as if he needed to speak.
This is really good.
There's no guide for this episode today, but Korey and Meghan have been around the industry for a little bit. And so Wade was like, hey, you should tell people what that's like.
I just always think that what we talk about all the time is deck building and different products that are available. So you guys can speak to those products as well. But also, there's just a million avenues in this industry. And it's like, where could we be, if you're building decks currently and maybe you hate it, maybe you're not super successful at it. Maybe you're like, each year you have to pay taxes and you're like, I didn't save enough.
Making too much money.
And so it could be, there's other opportunities still within the industry, still, basically selling decks, but selling them to the retail side or being in retail instead of being on the tools all the time, right? So
we certainly got every piece of the chain here today, except for the guy who's actually making your Fortress panels. He was unavailable to call in.
Yeah.
time change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slight language barrier, perhaps.
A little bit there too. But former contractors, now retailers, and then former retailer, now distributor / wholesaler.
Former retailer,
all of it.
distributor, now manufacturer.
Never built a thing in his life.
A few displays here and there.
Do you do like IKEA furniture at your house, or do you just buy like already bought stuff, already made stuff?
No, I'm an IKEA legend.
Yeah,
I
okay.
love it.
So he builds things.
Yeah.
Is that on your resume?
It should be.
Where do you think the sock came from? It was a gift with purchase. It's a pre-filled dresser he bought from. Oh no, babe, that just came with the order.
Yeah.
Corey's got a sock that showed up in his house. Random men's sock, and
My
his
wife
wife's
is
like,
gonna love this.
"What's the story?" Yeah, just zero
She doesn't
chance she
listen to
listens to this shit. I can't even get my wife to listen to it. I don't even know if she knows we have a podcast.
You're right.
Random
I
sock
was-
shows up.
Kim
I
might
was
listen
maybe-
because it's only one time that Corey be on.
Right. I
That's fair enough.
was like, hey, you should maybe listen to the podcast this time. I'm going to be on it. But maybe now I'm just going to let that one.
Turns out they canceled it. They didn't go. They didn't have any mics.
Yeah.
But this is funny though, because a random sock showed up in your house, men's sock, and your wife is grilling you about the men's sock. Which is the most
Correct, yeah.
ass backwards
Yeah.
thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Like, I guess it technically could have been a woman's jogging sock. But it certainly had the appearance of what you would classify as a men's sock. So.
Like you just dug that hole yourself. You should
I-
definitely not let her listen to this podcast now. Now you've put the seed of doubt in her head. It's like,
Right?
it could be a woman's though, babe. Like that makes it better.
Yeah, we've come to the conclusion that it's just a sock, and I think we're just gonna try and, because I was at the point where I was like, I don't know what's going on anymore either, and it's bothering me. So like, now we're just
How
like,
long
you know
did you
what?
hold on to this
You should
sock?
frame this
I
sock.
don't know. She said she found it in the laundry bin. So
When?
like yesterday.
Oh, this is brand new.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
I thought, like, she found a men's sock in the laundry bin while you're
While
in
Corey's
Saskatchewan.
gone. Yeah. And now she's like, what's with the sock, Corey? He's like, yeah, for sure, babe. I like planted that.
I'm 600 kilometers away.
Yeah, I don't know the last time we did the socks, but yeah. So anyway, it might have been in there for a couple weeks and somehow got in there some way, somehow. And
This is the strangest.
What
thing.
bothers you more, that your wife is cheating on you or that she has amnesia? Which one's going to be harder to live with
you know
after
what?
this?
The second part makes a lot of sense because she doesn't remember a lot of things that happen or I tell her. So I'm used to the second one. I guess the first one will be the one that gets me.
It hurts.
Yeah.
I feel like we've gone far enough into this now that we probably have to have her on next week.
Just to defend
Just to
yourself a
defend
little
herself
bit.
now. Now she's forgetful and she doesn't
Yeah.
ever remember anything I ever say. Shit.
Okay, so Corey, give us a little history about you and like how you got into the industry. So you said you've worked retail and all the way up to
Don't
up
put
to
it there.
distribution. Yeah,
The donuts are here and we can't reach them if they go there. The mic cords are only so long. Thank you.
thank you.
Look at that, hey? This is just
Where
for
are
you
these
guys.
from?
Unless
Oh.
there's some missing already, then I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
These were courtesy of Dana, like for the whole team. I was like, you guys take what you want there and then bring the rest upstairs while we're recording the podcast. Megan looks like she's going to puke if she doesn't have something to eat soon.
A donut. will
Yeah, you went to 7-Eleven this morning and got a Slurpee and a sausage
And two Smokies, yeah. One's still in the car.
breakfast.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I've been thinking about it.
There's nothing better than a not warm 7-Eleven Smoky.
Right?
Yeah. That'll kick
What
you
was
right
the...
back.
Sorry, Corey, we'll get to your story in a minute.
We did start there, but this
What was the plan for the second Smoky?
On the
Why is
road,
it
on the
still
way
in your-
home.
So you legit just like planted that to have it later?
Well, it was a
Like
buy
it-
one, get one. And I was like,
I
wow.
see.
Okay.
Oh, the old BOGO.
As if it hasn't been sitting in 7-Eleven long enough. It's got to sit longer in your car. So,
Yeah.
worked in retail.
I did. Yeah, I started when I was 15. It was a part-time job, obviously, at a company called Totem Building Supplies. So if there's any Albertans might recognize that, but it was an independent chain of lumber yards that went through Alberta and eventually turned into Rona's. And so I did that through the rest of high school and did a year of university, and university wasn't going the way I planned. So then I took a
for anybody?
yeah.
What did you take?
I was taking education.
Oh, yeah.
I could tell that. I knew it. I knew that didn't go as planned the first day I met you.
Yeah.
You look like a guy who probably dropped out.
It was, so I continued working at Totem, and I took a full-time position as a floor sales and moved on to their sales desk. And then there's a stint over in the paint department and just kind of worked my way through the system. And then about 5 years into that, I moved up to Calgary for the first time and did 2 more years at Totem, and then it changed over to Rona at that. And the changeover brought a lot of other changes, and so it was time to look for something new. And had a family friend that knew that had a vendor rep that was looking for an inside salesperson, and so reached out to them and started at a company called Prime Source Building Products and worked with them for 3 years until they closed in Canada. So that was my first foray into distribution.
And what did they sell?
Yeah, so they were the Mclean Lumber of a kind of similar building category, but all the fasteners you can imagine: pneumatic fasteners, collated fasteners, deck screws, wedge anchors, concrete anchors. We did shingles. We did cardboard rolls for like floor protection rolls. Yeah. You basically name it, kind of in that building category. That's what we were doing.
So when you went on calls, you would try to sell them like plywood? Like the same way that Meghan sells what she doesn't stock?
So I was inside sales at the time. So I was just more entering orders, answering the phone, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was my first step into the distribution world and working with dealers.
2 for 2 businesses you worked for went out of business. Who was the next victim?
Totem, gone. Prime Source, gone.
So
I know at least one more of them is no longer on its current banner either.
So then I went to a company called Mclean.
Gone.
Where are they now?
They are merged with another distributor, and they are now called Guilford. But Mclean was how I got introduced to Wade and Shane. So that was my first outside sales role. So I covered Alberta and Saskatchewan, I guess southern Alberta and Saskatchewan. And one of the other sales guys there said that he had found you guys on Facebook, I believe. And he was like, you should reach out to these guys. And so I reached out and made a trip out here, and we met in the second floor of Macara Street.
Yep.
And
that's super funny because I don't think we were open yet.
We were not.
no.
Like, you found our Facebook page and we didn't actually even exist yet.
Yeah.
Does social media work?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah, I guess.
Because, you came up. We had no intention of stalking your shit whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because you came to sell us railing.
I came to sell you Fortress
Fortress
Railing
Railing,
because Mclean was the distributor for AL13 Plus at the time. I guess it was just AL13 at the time.
Yep.
And we also distributed TimberTech and AZEK, and we also did cedar and pine and fir and that kind of thing. So, I
Came in to sell railing.
Yeah.
And walked out
with
selling
with a
TimberTech.
TimberTech booking. And, yeah.
So there's a chance you'll sell shit you're not trying to sell.
But the difference is he stocked it.
It's true. Yeah.
He did actually have it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and then did Mclean for 3 years, and then took a little foray into the world of plastics with a company called Laird Plastics, which
How are they doing?
they are still, they still exist. So yeah, they're doing fine. Yeah.
You got out early.
Avoided
The streak has been broken.
The guillotine.
Didn't finish that one.
Yeah. And in hindsight worked out quite well for me, as did the deck or outside building category. I sold plexiglass during the pandemic. So, things worked out pretty well, all things considered, during that time. And then
You basically single-handedly saved the country. With all those barriers that you put up.
I didn't want to take the credit, but if you're giving it to me, I'll take it. And then through you guys, Jason from Fortress at the time reached out to me and said he was looking for a Western Canadian rep for Fortress, and obviously I was familiar with the company through Mclean and distributing it for them, and so that happened in January of, I guess, would have been 2022. So I've been there just over a year and a half now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Meghan, he only left you a minute and a half. So if you want to give us your Cole's Notes version.
Wade asked for the
I think that's really
run
good.
through the industry.
Yeah.
And
Now, what does the next 10 years look like for you? Where do you think you're going?
Yeah. So I don't know if anyone's done the math, but like,
You sound like you're 48.
I'm still 31.
Come on.
So, hopefully lots of time to continue growing in the industry and taking on new roles and finding new things to do and going from there.
Joining the Ultimate Deck Shop at some point?
Yeah, I have to join the evil empire at some
I
point.
don't know.
Yeah.
Kiss of death that he's got going. I'd like to see a couple companies stay alive for a while before we bring them in.
I've actually got a couple of competitors I've referred you to.
Yeah.
Megan, what's your story? Currently with McLean. What's their official name? McLean Lumber.
Just Mclean Lumber.
Just that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what? Where'd you start?
I was actually going to school for HR, and I started in as a
They
receptionist.
kicked you out.
No. I actually finished and graduated.
Ooh. There's a blow.
Wow. Was it? Wow.
That was a blow right
Crazy.
at you.
I almost missed it too. That was wow. All right.
Started as a receptionist at a company called Everything Exterior in Edmonton. And then I finished schooling, moved into a purchaser role there. And then from there, kind of moved into a management / running the store role.
You were like a one-woman wrecking crew, right?
Yeah.
It was just like, Megan will do this.
Yeah.
Buy stuff. Megan will do that.
Right under
Unload
name
the
tag.
truck.
Manager / running the store. Shit. Is that like your official title? Yeah, because I give out titles too. So
I had an office underneath the staircase. Did you ever see it, Korey?
I did. Yeah.
Little Harry Potter closet for an office.
She's not even exaggerating.
No.
That is exactly what it looked like.
Yeah. To build my desk chair, I had to have it unassembled outside and then assemble it inside because the door frame wasn't wide enough to fit.
and trim off the back at a 45-degree angle to match.
Yeah. So no, while I was there, I was the only one that had purchasing power for 4 years, and it got a little hectic because I was also the backup forklift driver. So I'd be on the forklift, and I'd have people running up asking me to place a KWP PO. And
Like every 4 minutes, I'm
yeah,
sure.
pretty much flying off the shelf.
The missed opportunity.
Somebody from KCAN's going to listen to this and be like, what the fuck, you guys? Like, what's the deal? They have no back history. Why are they ragging on us so hard?
So spent about 4 years doing that, and also dealing with like top contractor sales and just everything. And then the company got sold, worked with the new owners for a bit, and then moved on to the distribution side. And then here we are.
Yada, yada, yada.
Want to name names or?
I had a brief stint with a company called Goodfellow.
Left a sock there and pieced out.
Yeah. And was kind of neat to start there and see what it's like from the other side. And then, moved on to Mclean Lumber, and it's right up my alley for more exterior products and not dealing with flooring ever again.
Boy, that seems to be like a universal feeling for people who have dealt with flooring. Is that
Yep.
they just you just learn to hate it.
Well, there's nothing special about it. There's no cool flooring projects. It's like, yeah, that's the flooring.
Yeah. Check out this floor I built.
Yeah.
It all clicks together.
Yeah.
And
It's going to be discontinued tomorrow.
yeah.
Don't call me for any claims.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you sold flooring? Like
Just at the
Totem?
retail level. Yeah. Yeah.
and a nightmare there too?
Yeah. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's there's a lift of laminate sitting on the ground, and then you get boards that fail or planks that fail, and then you try and get a warranty claim, and they're like, no thanks, and because this color doesn't exist anymore, so now you've got 5 boxes left at the end of the day that won't go anywhere because it's not enough to do a job anywhere. And then
Are the margins really good in this flooring? Like, do they make a ton of money?
There's better margins in flooring, but it's also such a race to the bottom. I mean, lots of people are price conscious, but with flooring, you could have the best flooring known to mankind, and if it's $1 more than everything else, good luck. Doesn't matter.
Which
You'll
stuff
never
is
sell. Well, that doesn't exist.
They had to get rid of it. It was $1 more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's no selling value with flooring.
So when you went from retail to distribution, what was the biggest change for you? Like you were working at Everything Exterior, then you go into Goodfellow.
So that's our office, probably.
Probably the office.
Yeah.
Did you have to take your chair apart to get
No,
it?
I didn't have to because it was sloped because it was under the staircase too. So yeah, I didn't have to deal with that. No, for me, the biggest change was not working with people off the street anymore, like homeowners anymore. You still deal with contractors. You're still in contact with contractors all the time, but yeah, you're not dealing with homeowners or helping people pick colors. Like you're not walking into a store and they're having a hard time picking gray or brown. Like it's not.
And that's a good thing?
Yeah, I'd say so. I don't know. The only thing that I feel that I miss is you don't get to see the end result as often being on distribution.
Sure.
Like it's sweet to that's the most exciting part of sometimes the painstakingly slow process of getting the project from beginning to end, but at least seeing what happened, you're like, okay, yeah, that was cool. That's worth it.
Yep.
And you just don't get to see it as often from the distributor level.
Who's more demanding, retail customers or like retail salespeople, right? So when you worked in retail, were the customers you worked with harder to work with, or like when you talk to Shane and he relentlessly grinds on price and won't stop and wants free delivery? Who's worse?
No, honestly, it's easier to compare like contractors, I would say, than like your homeowner to now working with retail, because it's pretty much the same idea of what you deal with. People hate when they're not included in the process. So if something gets missed and you don't tell someone as soon as it happens, yeah, they're going to be mad. But if you tell them as soon as it happens, you can deal with it a little bit easier. So honestly, I feel like it's the same. Like Korey, I don't know how you feel, but
Yeah, I was trying to think of the best way to put this. I think that the retailer is probably more, I guess, demanding in the sense, but they're maybe more understanding.
yeah,
Because if they're dealing with it with me, they've almost certainly dealt with it with every other rep at one time or another. And so while we need to figure out a solution to get it done, there's some understanding there, that because they've been there and done that. And then, Joe Blow, homeowner coming into to Rona and not understanding why you don't have the plumbing part that he needs, and just like not being able to wrap his head around that. That was the big change for me too. I would have said the exact same answer, was not dealing with the consumer
yeah.
as often as you did at the retail level. It's just a little bit different dynamic. And then I guess on top of that, it's the building the relation. Like, you're never going to have that relationship with the guy that comes in for a 90-degree angle, right? The one time. But as Shane alluded to, I've been working with you guys on and off for 7+ years now. And you're not going to get that at Rona or a retail yard typically.
Right.
So,
yeah, we've heard lots of reasons why product doesn't come. And you're right. It's not just from one manufacturer. The newest one was, there was supposed to be some railing that was delivered to us, but the semi-trailer caught on fire. And so we're not getting the railing because
Is that what that was?
the transportation, the truck that was bringing it here, the trailer caught on fire and burnt. So now we don't get railing parts. And you're right. We now have to phone a homeowner and be like, you're not going to believe this, but the semi caught on fire.
Yeah.
And they're like, that doesn't even sound believable. I was
Was it
like,
his truck?
it wasn't. It was his competitor's truck.
yeah.
Okay.
So, so that has happened before too. When I was at Mclean, my manager at the time, Danny, he told us a story working with one of the retailers in Calgary where they were ordering in these dimensional fir, I think it was fir cedar timbers. and they were delayed and delayed and delayed. The mill was behind and so the calls were happening. Where's this stuff? Where is it? Where is it? And so Danny finally gets the call. Hey, like, it's on the truck. It's leaving. It's on its way. And he gets a call about 3 hours later. Bad news. That truck is currently burning over the Logan Pass, and it's all gone.
Yeah,
and, like,
and your
You're
timbers
going to want to get down there real fast.
and so, like, he makes a call to the dealer, and he's like, I don't know what to tell you, but, like, turn on the news, because, like, they're showing that there's a truck on fire. That's your material.
Wow.
Like, so, yeah.
just 8 more weeks, and
Yeah.
we'll get those timbers ready for you again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's this could be fun. I don't want to put you on the spot, but like, do you have any stories? So that's pretty good one.
Yeah.
Like any other stories from your years in the industry of like, you never believe this shit.
Yeah, I dealt with a hardy job. It was a dream color, which is minimum 8 to 12 weeks. Like, that's pretty standard.
A dream color is like a series of
It's
like
not a stocked standard color.
that's what they call it.
You know, dream color. Well, it doesn't exist anymore. They discontinued it.
That's right.
But yeah, so dream color, and then during the pandemic, 8 to 12 weeks again is the standard. So this was like, I think it was about 14 weeks. This guy was waiting for it, and
That's where the name came from. Can I get this color in your dreams, buddy?
so they didn't tarp or wrap the last, I don't know, 12 feet of the truck, and drove through like a thunderstorm. And so hardy is cementitious, and it can't have water on it. Not, at least not until it's on the house. Then it's safe. So I got a call that there was only 2 jobs that got affected, and one of them was mine for this guy that was already like on my case all the time. And he was flipping shit. And to the point where when I finally actually got more in, he wanted to come and inspect how it was wrapped to make sure that he would be okay. So I had to walk him through the warehouse and show that, like, we're not, like, it's wrapped. And also, I'm not taking the wrap off because of what just happened.
Yeah.
So you're just going to have to believe it's okay. Yeah.
Korey, you have any other good ones?
Yeah, I was trying to think. There's been everything, right? Like, and they sound crazy, whether it's the truck on fire or, when
What do you mean somebody jackknifed a ship in the Suez Canal? What do you?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Actually, one of the ones that I dealt with when I was at Laird was on top of the pandemic. They had that massive ice storm down in Texas, and 2 of the largest plastic extrusion plants in North America are in Houston. And so not only can we not get plexiglass anyway because everyone wants it, but the 2 places that you might have been able to get some from didn't have power and were flooding, and it's just like, what do you do?
And the roofs caved in or something in the one place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
That was at an adhesive place.
that
That thing's sticky.
that one dug deep because a lot of things were affected by that because they also manufactured like adhesives and additives and stuff that
Correct,
went into like
yeah.
OSB and other sheet goods and paint
Yeah.
and caulking.
Yeah.
It was like there was a lot of industries affected by that, and it's
Yeah.
like, why can't I get paint? Because of snow in Houston. Nope. Try again.
That doesn't sound believable.
No, really, they got so much it caved the roof in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically like a few years ago it snowed in Egypt or whatever, and they're like, nobody would believe you if you were like, yeah, it literally snowed in Egypt.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, no, an ice storm took out 2 manufacturing plants in Houston and added on to what was already a scarce situation with the pandemic. So
Well, remember when almost every decking plant was on fire or
Yeah.
like had a fire for like a couple years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, who's on fire this year?
Yep.
Yeah.
What was COVID like? Where were you during COVID? You were still at Everything
I was at
Exterior?
Everything Exterior, yeah.
You were at Laird?
I was, yeah.
Saving the world.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so it was pretty interesting because we obviously got into the pandemic and things had started to slow down as it did for a lot of places. And there was emails about, you know, maybe only doing 4-day work weeks and potential layoffs and you know, just kind of trying to prepare us for the worst. And I still remember it was a Friday late morning that RBC and Loblaws, which is a chain of grocery stores in Canada, and a bank announced that they were going to start putting up barriers to protect their workers. And that Monday following, we at our branch had ordered 6 times the amount of inventory that we needed the year prior, and we probably should have ordered at least 12 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
That made sense because at that time they're like, no, this it's like airborne. You touch anything, you touch your vegetables, you touch any surfaces, you touch anything, you're going to get it.
Yeah.
And then somebody was like, what if we just put more surfaces up
and
between us
and wipe them down
where the air doesn't
often.
go?
Yeah.
Yeah, that should probably do it.
Yeah. So, you know, in hindsight, it maybe was it wasn't the best thing, but I think at the time it was trying to make the workers at these places a little more comfortable going into work every day.
I'll tell you what, you didn't make a dime off us, Korey. Not a dime.
You made lots of dimes,
Health
though.
and safety.
Yeah, a couple times elsewhere.
Health and
That's
safety
for
guy
sure.
came in one time and he's like, you guys should have, and it wasn't even his, like, that wasn't his thing. He was here to do a safety inspection for other things.
Yeah.
But he's like, you guys should have up barriers, plexiglass barriers at your counters. And we're like, well, that's silly. Like, we're only here at the last minute of the hour that person's in the store is spent here. The rest of it, we're out here with them, like face to face.
Yeah.
6 feet, whatever. But like,
Yeah.
I can promise you that barrier is doing nothing. Like, by the time we get to the barrier, we've got it already behind the mask. He's like,
and
well, like, somebody shows up, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. It was like, do we have to do it? Well, like, it's not my call, but like, well, then you worry about the fire extinguishers and you let it.
I ended up reading that legislation, and you didn't have to put them up. It was not mandatory. It wasn't legislated. And so we didn't.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah, we didn't have it at Everything Exterior either. We did have to limit the amount of people that came in, though.
Yeah. There were
Which
certainly some rules. Yeah.
yeah, it sucked though when like there was some Saturdays where it was just pouring and there's families like huddled outside in a line waiting to come in. It's like, I'm sorry.
If you could lay on top of those lifts of Hardy, keep them dry. That would be, thanks. Thank you. The coffee's warm. When you do get in here, you'll warm up pretty quickly.
Just the dream line, because that guy.
Yeah, crazy times.
How about, like, I know what it was like for us, but sales-wise in,
Oh my gosh, it was
EE.
insane.
like, scary at first, like, nothing's going to happen, and then it took off.
Oh yeah, like record breaking. At the very, very beginning though, I was assigned to just essentially work from home. When I was just purchasing, I didn't really need to physically be there.
Did you also work under your own stairs at home just to
No,
feel like
no.
more productive
I
environment?
did not. Well, what they had me do was because they wanted me to be able to be contacted like instantly. So they set up an iPad on my desk, and I had to be on video the whole time. So it was just my face on an iPad on a desk so that everyone could just talk to me if they needed to
Who, everyone?
in the office.
So you're at home,
Yeah,
and you have to have your computer on,
yeah,
and then they have just a screen sitting at the store that they could.
yeah.
If you want to talk to Megan, you have to go talk to the iPad.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
And they decided they wanted to do inventory during then as well. So it was literally my warehouse guy, his face would pop up on the iPad. He's like, okay, this is what I found. And so we're trying to do inventory over chat. And it was
Yuck.
the worst thing
So
of all time.
you were home because you were in a position that you didn't have to be public facing, so therefore don't be there. Like, why did they send?
We kind of separated into 2 teams, I guess. And so we would alternate being in the store so that if, like, let's say someone got COVID on one, it didn't take
I
out
see.
the whole staff.
On the first shift.
Yeah,
You need to shut down the first shift.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, we were just kind of swapping. Yeah, but after that, it was absolutely insane. And we didn't even have, and our yard was a fenced in. I don't even know what to call it. It was the parking lot.
Corner of the parking lot.
Yeah.
If anyone knows anything about that, it's these two.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was
We operated
fun.
in a postage stamp for a while.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Couldn't turn the forklift around. It was every time we went to pull material out of that yard, it was like Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we would empty
Wild.
it at the beginning of every day and then load everything back in at the end of the day. Yeah. Fun stuff.
Okay, so into distribution, are you thinking you'll continue to stay in that role? Do you like that side more than retail?
Yes. Like I said, there's certain things that I miss from the retail side, but for now, it's sweet and it's nice to see the other side and learn things that if I ever decided to go back to retail, I know a heck of a lot more than I ever did when I first started in retail. But,
Certainly, yeah.
as it stands right now, no, I'm pretty happy doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, and Mclean is a smaller organization, right? They're like a distributor, but very like family, very small. They have two locations, and as opposed to Goodfellow, which is like a national.
Across the country.
Yeah, it's huge, right?
Yeah.
How many branches does Goodfellow have?
Oh boy, there's
At least 7.
like minimum one per province essentially.
Yeah.
And then there's multiple.
That doesn't
subs-
work.
Nope, that doesn't matter.
That's 10. And then
I just
3.
I believe
Thinking
there's the like Moncton covers the Maritimes, and then they've Quebec, Ontario. There's 2 in Quebec actually, 2 in Quebec, Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatoon, 2 in Alberta, 1 in BC. So 8.
Yeah, you start to get bigger organizations like that, and it's a lot harder to affect change, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't.
next topic. It's going to turn into a mental health episode really quick.
Right? Just a huge exhale.
How's everything else, Megan? You doing okay? So Korey, Fortress is your current baby.
Yeah.
You guys just exited, and there's been some changes because you just exited your decking line,
Correct.
and that's brought about some. Well, I don't know if it's brought about a ton of change for you, but like ton of change for the company. I'm assuming. For some people.
Yeah. Me personally, it wasn't a massive change because I just didn't have the proper distribution channels in my area to move the decking properly. So it affected some of, especially our rep out in BC in particular, and a few of the others down through the States a little bit more. But it basically got sold back to the company that we had the North American selling rights for, because they wanted to start their own operation in North America. So that was interesting, and it brought some changes in personnel, and because some of our staff joined that company. Everlast is the company, and then on top of that, it's recently brought on some more change through the industry with some other people joining them recently. So
Yeah. And so now, what would you say is your primary focus? So obviously railing is something that Fortress has always done. Like it's been a big chunk of their business. But
Yeah.
the steel framing has been something that's kind of like in the last 5 years been coming on hard, but
for sure. So yeah, the railing's kind of always been Fortress's bread and butter. In fact, I think like I'm technically employed by Fortress Rail LC or something like that.
Okay.
Not by Fortress Building Products. We operate as that now. But so, we started with the iron lines and brought on the aluminum lines that we know in Canada today. And then, the framing is kind of the big new push. It's still 5-ish years old, and with that came the pergola design as well, and we've added specific products for that, whether it's the prefabbed pergola kits or the accessories to build out your a la carte pergola however you'd like. So yeah, it's a lot of maintaining and growing the railing, because there's a ton of opportunity in the railing sector still around here for Fortress. and with a serious push in the framing and pergola world as well.
And you guys also sell fence products, right? Fence.
Correct. Yeah.
fencing?
Yeah. So that's definitely something that we're, especially in Canada, we are really going to try and keep pushing on is ornamental and we have some composite fencing lines as well, and hybrid fencing lines. In the States, our fencing category is massive. So it just hasn't gotten to the point where we'd like it in Canada quite yet, but there's definitely some opportunity there as well.
And is it the iron, the ornamental stuff that's so big in the States?
Correct.
I just don't see that stuff around here, right? Like it's like
It's funny how
Canada,
regional
we
those
don't do that.
metals are.
Yeah.
Just even as like with the railing specifically, that aluminum, it's so dominant. It's not even like it's like, it's 60-40 in Canada and 40-60 in the States.
Yeah.
No, it's like the railing market, deck railing market for non-wood railing is like 98% aluminum. And in the States, it's like the opposite.
Yeah.
Like same number, but with iron or steel.
It's probably about, in the States, I would guess that it's probably about 90% iron and 10% aluminum. I think we have
It just makes no sense.
We have
to
a
me.
little pocket up in the Northeast, I think, that kind of is drifted towards aluminum. And but otherwise, I don't know. I truly don't know what the reasoning behind it is. I think it's what they know, and so they're maybe just comfortable. But from our perspective, that we've all been working with aluminum for so long. It's lighter, it's cheaper, it's easier to work around. You don't have to worry about rust, all those kind of things. It seems like a no-brainer from our perspective, and it just isn't down there for whatever reason. So all the power to them. We sell a ton of iron railing as well. So,
It'd be interesting to. I don't want to take this somewhere it shouldn't be, but it's interesting. You say the benefits of aluminum, and then but Fortress went steel with their framing option, and obviously there's aluminum out there too. I wonder. I'm not asking for a response from you. I don't want to get in shit with anybody, but I wonder how long that was discussed when they were discussing alternative framing products. It's like, do we go aluminum or do we go steel? What are the benefits of both? And
I would imagine that because of their familiarity with steel or iron with their railing and fence segments, that the steel made sense to go into the framing market as well. I think the other big one in regards to the framing is iron is a lot stronger than aluminum, and so when you're worrying in the framing world about live loads and dead loads and snow loads and all that kind of stuff, and really what I think is the major selling point for framing is the Fortress steel framing is what you can span compared to traditional pressure treated lumber. I don't think you would get that same effect out of aluminum.
right, yeah. So what's as far as your quotas, are you like, you say you're working technically for Fortress Rail, but like your goals for 2023 is to what? Are you like, is there a push to grow the steel portion of it? Is it fencing related or what's, or is it just like all categories, push them all?
For us in Canada, it's kind of more still, we're still really doing a lot of, missionary work or I don't know if you want to call it a shotgun blast where, it's try and make as many contacts as possible and get your fingers in as many pies as possible and see what comes out of it. Where in the States, they kind of have that more wrapped up and they're more in the management side and that kind of thing. So, like I said, there will be and there is a continued push towards framing for sure. I've seen growth in our market this year in framing. I would say 60% of that probably falls into more pergola than anything, and 40% of that would be framing, which may be interesting. But so that'll continue into next year is steel framing for sure, and
You just need some legislation changed. So we were talking about this before we came on, and the WUI certification that happens in California right now, and you're talking that it's going to be in Denver.
Oregon and I believe Washington State, and I believe Colorado's coming or is part of that too. Basically anywhere that is prone to forest fires, right? And so I think the classification is any urban center within 2 miles of a national park or an environmental space or whatever they want to classify it as, will fall under this WUI guideline and WUI, and will require Class A fire rating on the materials that are being used. There is no such thing as Class A fire rating on pressure-treated lumber as it sits today. So there's the opportunity that we might see to see that dramatic increase if we see that push up into Canada as well. I think everyone's aware of what happened in Canada this year in regards to the forest fires. So,
yeah, I think that some of the national parks are probably going to be the first adopters of that.
For sure.
I know that we quoted a fortress job in Manitoba, and that was it. It had to be Class A fire rated.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's starting for sure.
See, I'm interested if the actual, for the framing projects or aspects of that, if the surface decking will follow suit. Because, we worked on jobs where they needed, Class A fire rated for the frame, but then they threw composite on top.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe some of the composite boards are Class A. Is Fibron?
PVC only.
Oh, PVC
Only
only.
Fibron Promenade is the only one in our store that would be Class A.
Yeah.
But
So
it's certainly.
So I'm not sure how they're getting around that, if that's the case, or what their solution is for that. But yeah, that is.
And I think the job that I did in Manitoba, it ended up actually, I think they ended up framing the low deck out of wood. And so on this building that they built, they didn't have to have fire rating on the low deck, but the upper decks had to be fire rated. And I was just like, this isn't making sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah.
I don't know
if
that
you're in the middle of a fire, the last thing you want to do is fall.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, I think there's lots of discovery left in that. I believe there's a lot of people that still need to work through what they actually want that to look like, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. And, we're still at the point where, anything that isn't pressure treated lumber as a framing option is kind of, accepted and, applauded, because it's, whether it's our steel or the Newcastle steel or the Owens Corning composite lumber, I think just getting the awareness that there's other options than your pressure treated lumber is still massive. We still have very, very little market share when you think about it out of all the decks that are built in North America.
Yeah.
Across all those types of alternative framing options.
Yep. Is the Owens Corning stuff rated A as well?
I don't know that.
I don't know if I know that either.
Boy, that'd be a big advantage. Check mark in your column if it was not.
For sure. Yeah. So I to be totally honest, I haven't run into it a whole lot. There's been a few contractors that have tried a job here and there for the Owens Corning stuff, but I don't know about the Class A fire rating on it or not.
All right, Megan. He said enough.
Oh, all
You're
right.
on the hot seat now. Tell us about some of the products that you enjoy selling, because you guys sell quite a bit of different stuff. I don't want to hear anything about KWP. I'm going to do my own research on that. But you're
Do you want to explain the KWP joke, or?
I think at this point we should just leave it in the air, and I don't know.
leave it tucked with the sock in Corey's house?
yeah.
Ambiguously
Well, we explained that one at least. Yeah.
undefined. No, but so everything exterior, you sold a variety of different, if we're going to talk about decking, variety of different brands of decking.
Every brand of
And
decking.
now you're I guess you still have a couple options. You've got True North and /Clubhouse / Decorators as
Yep.
well. And then you guys are doing some stuff with Millboard still, or no? No, sorry, not Millboard. Acre. Yeah.
Not the decking anymore. It's looking like just trims and sheet goods.
On the Acre product.
On the Acre product, yeah. Yeah, that's what it would be for decking. We still have the standard cedar 5/4 by 5 or 5/4 by 6 decking. Sell a whole bunch of fir. I actually had someone quoting a fir 5/4 by 6 decking.
Really?
That's
project.
interesting.
Yeah, I thought so too.
How does that compare price-wise to cedar 5/4?
I haven't checked the pricing yet, but I'm interested to see it. But
Because I think on the timbers, the fir was quite a bit less, at least this last year. Too.
yeah. Oh, I had everyone, like, before I switched to Mclean on the everything exterior side, I had guys that had done cedar pergolas forever with all of their deck projects, and he just switched to fir for everything when the cedar prices went up.
Yeah, it's significantly different. We did a pergola at the Royal Regina Golf Course, and we got all the material from Mclean.
Yeah.
But when I phoned and talked to Kurt, we priced it out in cedar, and then he called back slightly, I don't know, whatever, a couple hours later, and was like, "Do you want to try this with fir? It's like quite a bit less money."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we sell. There's Osco. There's Camo. Camo is one of my favorite brands, honestly, just with all the different screws and the fasteners. Their tools and, like the Camo blocks. Those are all sweet.
Have you guys seen many problems with camo fasteners, the clips, the screws and the clips breaking? To set stage, we have not, but you hear about it quite
That's
a
not
bit
true.
online.
There's a bag
few
of
here
them.
and there.
There's a bag of them in Saskatoon. So a customer did bring me some camo clips.
But that's what I mean, though. It's always like,
Which one's the edge ones you're talking
Yeah.
about?
yeah, nobody's breaking any. You come back and you broke 100. Like that.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, like,
Yeah,
if it's the screw.
the guy just had, I don't know what it was. He must have brought me like 30
Oh, wow.
that were all broken. And the screws were all sheared.
Oh, no, I've never had that. I've heard some complaints with the Edge X for the 45s.
Never heard of it. It never happened.
Making stuff up.
Every single retailer and wholesaler ever.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's the first for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
The clips are breaking like crazy. These screws don't work. Huh. I don't know. Work for everybody all the time. First I've ever heard of it.
Two of the same stair bracket in a
Yeah.
pack. That's a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So you haven't had lots of that happen, hey?
No.
Weird.
No, even on the retail side, I didn't have that happen because I switched everything over to Camo because we were selling Tiger Claw TCGs for the longest time. Did the Fibron Universal, did the Trex Universal, went through all of those, and finally with Camo, that was the one I had like no problems with.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like even on the Facebook groups, especially that big one that I'm not invited to, it seems like 95% of people or more rave about camo, never have problems. And then there's just a handful of guys who are like, just wait. And it's like, well, you haven't been using them longer than anybody else. They've only been out for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So, but then some guys are like, I have callbacks all the time from screws shearing off. And it's like, they're all coming from the same factory. How are some guys having so many problems and then the most of everybody else not? So I don't know what the issue is. But
Sounds like a user error.
sounds
Almost
like it,
for
but
sure.
those guys get their backs up pretty quick if you say that.
I know.
I've been building decks for 170 years myself. I know exactly what I'm doing. I did have my clutch set. These things are good. Okay, whatever. Anyway, what else? What else to sell? What do you like selling the most of your current catalog of
Like
products?
the railing and decking are the big ones. Talking about seeing the end result. So some of the cedar or for like timber jobs, those are cool. Osco's getting way too pricey, but I really loved Osco for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, decorators is, after cedar, pine, and fir that Mclean was built on, decorators is kind of your guys' new frontline baby.
Yeah.
So
Do you take any joy in selling tongue and groove pine to retailers that then can't move it?
That's not my problem if they can't move it.
Now she's on the KWP. No, I've been burnt by you before.
No, the pine is good too. Actually, there's been so many pine projects and bids around Edmonton right now. Like there's one that's just under 10,000 lineal feet of pine for a bid right now. So
maybe explain why you sold the T&G pine to our friends here at the Ultimate Deck Shop.
because it was a really good opportunity, and
I think you were commissioned on that file.
To be fair to her, it wasn't that like we had carried it before. We just
Right.
weren't again. And then I mean, it was on for a great price.
Well, that's a good
And
price.
I let her talk me into it. And then, like, to nobody's fault but my own, we didn't promote it whatsoever.
Yeah.
I tucked it in the warehouse and was
He's
like, if anybody asks, it's back there.
Right. Yeah.
how would they know to
So
ask?
that's how KWP goes if you don't promote it. You don't even have to promote it. Yes, you do. My pine says you do have to promote it.
It's all about having products too that can carry you through the months where you're not selling decks.
That's why I'm holding on to it.
Yeah.
You'll see that stuff fly here come winter.
There you go.
The
you
ladies
have
of
a marketing,
Pinterest.
you have a marketing plan set
Yep.
up for that.
Couple Instagram posts.
It's called Fraser's Garage.
Oh yeah, we'll just sell it to our employees at cost. This is great.
Hey, cost recovery at this point would be a good deal. We didn't mention that at first. You just mentioned Edmonton now, but we didn't really mention at the start where you guys are from. You're out of Calgary now, or did we? I don't know. Can't remember. But you guys are both
yeah.
Alberta
Yep.
and representing the North and South. Battle of Alberta. Are you a big Flames fan, a big Oilers fan?
You go first.
Well, yeah, I'm an Oilers fan, but I don't think
I am not a Flames fan.
I was going to say most people from Calgary are.
Stampeders,
Don't.
Elks.
Yeah.
I was
yeah.
really going to go West
Ooh,
Coast
you
there.
just,
but-
yeah, I just don't mess that up.
Yeah, like I will go to a CFL game if presented with the opportunity, but I will not go out of my way
Yeah.
to go see one.
Okay.
Good. Both your teams are trash this year, as is ours.
Correct. Yeah.
So-
Yeah. So, and the stadium, not that many people are familiar with Calgary, but it is well known for its urban sprawl, and that stadium is at minimum a 45-minute drive away from my house.
Oh, wow.
So it's not really worth the commute to me.
Okay.
So
Ours
Fair
is
enough.
just not in a nice part of the city. It's like you don't want to go there. Not alone.
I've been to that stadium, Commonwealth. I went to a Metallica concert there.
there you go.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch a football game
Yeah.
there
No.
because there's no people there. What happens, right? They can hold what? They can hold 60,000 people or something,
Well, they're practically.
and they get 11.
They try to give tickets away. They're like, please.
I mean, they just set the pro record for most consecutive home losses in all of professional sports, not in Canadian football, in MLB, NFL, all of it. What was it, 23 or 22 home losses in a row?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Is that really happening?
would
right
you-
now?
That'll do it.
It's over now, but yeah, they hadn't won a home game in 3 years, Wade.
Oh
That-
yeah.
That is.
So you wanna talk
that
about,
is
like, people
tough
aren't
on the
going?
fan
Like-
base, yeah.
They were still getting like high teens to low 20s people, but you're right, in a stadium that holds 60,000, it looks pretty
Looks empty.
thin when you've got
Yeah.
a third of it full.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Why would you go?
There's even a house that was like painted and decorated all around the Edmonton Elks. But they don't even advertise that that's what they're doing anymore. Like, yes, it is green and yellow, but they don't advertise why it's green and yellow anymore.
it's just prairie colors.
Yeah. Yeah. And meanwhile, you guys have this massive new stadium, and you guys have the one of the most rabid fan bases in sports. So,
And the team is still garbage. So the
correct.
stadium doesn't
Yeah.
help.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, the stadium's nice. It's enjoyable to go to a game. It's comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Product in the field is trash lately, last couple of years. But
Yeah.
anyway, are you guys going to any shows coming up? Do you ever take part in that kind of stuff? I know WRLA obviously is a more relevant one to
Yeah.
you guys, but
Yeah. So I won't be attending Deck Expo or IBS, unfortunately, but my regional sales manager for Canada, Eric, is going to be attending both. So, and then we'll have the regular crew from the States there as well. So, and then, yeah, WRLA is kind of the big one for both of us. Fortress will be doing their own booth for the first time this year. So that'll be fun. We'll get to display kind of the whole Fortress gambit. And while we liked working with and continue to working with the distributors that we have, we thought it'd be best that because we have 3 different distributors in the Western Canadian provinces, that maybe we should do our own thing, and that we can avoid having any unintentional biases and all that kind of stuff.
right. And you'll be there as well.
Yep.
At the Mclean will have their booth again.
Yep.
They haven't for a couple of years, right?
No, they had one last year.
Did they have
It
one
was
last
just the 1 year out of the pandemic.
They
The
did.
last year
'cause,
they did.
The decorators rep was there. That was the first time we had met her.
Right.
year? Oh yeah, right. But so the guy Dave wasn't there.
No.
Is that what it was?
No.
Dean was there,
Well, then-
Dean, Ron,
and
It was just Dean,
Melissa.
Ron, and Melissa because
Yeah.
Kurt
And then the True North.
had his issues. So
Yeah, Kurt couldn't fly.
yeah.
Are you
So-
going to come to the Edmonton show again this year?
Yeah, I guess that's the other thing that happens here that I spend a lot of time doing in the spring months is the home shows. I try and attend as many as I can. I think I did Calgary, Edmonton, Saskatoon with you guys, Winnipeg. So I did a good chunk of them last year. So some of them run the same week, so it's like impossible to do them all. But some weekends. But it's that's fun. That's nice to be able to support you guys or other retailers or other contractors that are setting up booths. And, as I mentioned before with the shotgun approach, sometimes it's hard to track down some of these contractors when they're trying to build as many decks as possible. And so if you've got 6 of them in the same room, because they've all got booths at the home show, then you can kill a lot
They're
of...
trapped. They can't get away from you.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey,
Yeah.
there you are.
Yeah.
Notice
The
you
best
haven't
part
answered
about-
my phone calls.
Yeah, the best part about this is you are sitting here to talk to people. So yeah. So that'll happen again this year, and then we'll go from there.
There was a lot of contractor booths last year.
Yeah.
Compared to the amount of like retail booths.
In the Edmonton show?
Oh yeah.
That still hasn't really taken hold here. In our 2 markets, in like Saskatoon and Regina, there's not a lot of contractors that are doing booths. There are more of them in Saskatoon, like the shows that are happening in Saskatoon. The contractors seem to be keen to this home show setup. But in Regina, it's mostly just retail.
Wade could count them on his thumbs. That's how many are usually in the show.
1.5.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because like I think that that's the best place for them in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Like,
Early leads.
yeah. And there's always the argument about how do you quantify the leads and how do you make sure you follow up on them and how you manage that. But if the Saskatoon one was a phenomenal one because we had that first night there, the Thursday night, where it was all invite only from home builders.
Yeah.
So everyone that was in there had just moved into a home or was moving into a home.
Yep.
And what's the one thing that typically doesn't come with a home right off the bat? A deck and a fence. So that, like, I couldn't believe the amount of conversations we had that in that 3-hour window.
Yeah, it was great.
Because it was the perfect clientele for that.
You
right?
must have been directing them to a different lumberyard because I don't think they ended up at our store. But speaking of biases,
Do you guys have anyone in Calgary or here that what they started doing is making it a part of the mortgage? So like, for example, there's some that do feature walls. They do all the feature walls in the house, and then they just add it to the mortgage payment.
Yeah, you can. I wouldn't say there's a movement or a trend of that happening, but it's certainly something we're aware of. That's a possibility.
Like a pine feature wall.
Yeah. Hey, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
She's done with KWP back in the pine now. That wall could have been KWP.
No, that's for skirting.
Right.
I think that's a good idea, right? Like, especially when you're talking about upgrades, like for me in particular, if you're talking about steel framing, right? The steel framing, if you're doing the deck after you've bought the house and you're comparing the notes and the PT frame is, X dollars and the steel frame is X times 2, or whatever it is, X times 3. Well, that's a little shocking. But if you wanted to do it and you wanted to upgrade it and then that difference gets built in your 25-year mortgage, well, now you're paying an extra $100 a month on your mortgage and you're getting a product that's going to last as long as that mortgage is supposed to last, right?
Well,
we have a 25-year warranty. So
a lot of people build their house and their house broke right away. Like they're not going to be able to fork
Right.
out $20,000 for the deck anytime soon if they don't do it up front.
right.
Or they put it on their credit card and pay 23% interest. It's
Right.
like you might as well tuck in. Like I know mortgages are at 5.6% now, but that's still a hell of a lot less than the credit card. So
Yeah, absolutely.
it's certainly strategically probably a wise move to do if you care to get your yard done within the next decade.
Yeah, and I guess that's the one thing is, buying a house is overwhelming or building a house is overwhelming as is, and now you're trying to tackle the backyard and the front yard and everything all at once. And maybe it's just too much to bite off for some people. But
In your house, you did a deck last year, the year before?
2 years ago now. Yeah.
Was it an option to have a deck on your house when you bought it, or was it just like, there's the house? It was?
Yeah. So, but the option from the home builder was a 10 by 10 PT deck. That was the option. PT lumber, like PT deck boards, PT frame, whole 9 yards. I don't even know if they put railing on it if it didn't need it, kind of thing. And if they did,
Doesn't that seem like a missed opportunity? Like as a home builder,
Yeah.
you should be able to like present your customer with 3 options, right?
Yeah.
It's like PT 10 by 10 PT, 16 by 12 composite, or custom.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd want to know if that home builder is the one building the deck, though.
Well, like they would just have the same framer who framed their house do it, probably.
Yeah. Which I don't know if that's. I guess it depends the size of the job you're doing and the quality of the job that you're looking to get out of it.
Or you get your own deck builder to follow your crew, because
For sure.
you have plumbers and electricians and drywallers, and it's not like they can't manage trades.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Why don't you sub that out to a deck builder? It's
It just blows my mind. I
totally
make
agree.
any sense to me.
I think we're going to see a lot of insurance jobs next year after all the fires. I don't know that there's going to be many like new projects. It's going to be all insurance claims.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to start fires, is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying there was already fires. There was a bunch of them, and people.
Well, like we saw this a few years ago with Fort McMurray, right? That there was a massive push out there after the fires because you need to rebuild.
Yeah.
And it's an awful situation, but it's all insurance money. So it's just like, well, we're going to do this and this and this, and we wanted to change this wall out anyway or whatever, right? So it was it's, I guess
there's an opportunity to upgrade too, right? So the deck is mostly paid for, and then you can shell out just a little bit extra and get that steel framing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And then it won't burn next year.
The rest of the house will be gone. But the jack,
that frame will still be there. The board's on top, and the rest of the house, who knows? But
Quick little powder coat, put her back on the wall.
works for me. Well, I appreciate you guys stopping by. Like as a whole, we went out last night. This is where the inside jokes come from. 6 hours of drinking last night. It's always good to see you guys, and appreciate you sharing some of your thoughts and expertise and stories on the podcast. So, Wade, what do you have left to say?
I don't have anything. I just think, I think it's great that the industry is so big, and I think it's awesome to see you guys and watch you like change your roles and grow, and it's fun to follow along. So.
Not too late to join us at Deck Expo if you want to, by the way. Just saying. You can stay in my room.
deal.
Thank you for listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Now you know what we're about. Check the site, come and shop. UltimateDeckShop.com. Hit us right away for sponsorships, or tell us if you want to collaborate. Let's go. Check us out on any social networks. Thank you for listening.